Hey guys, quick editor's note here. Like Riley said in the last episode, we're having some audio difficulties in these first couple of episodes. They get addressed later on, eventually move to a platform that works a little bit better for us. So this episode's a little bit rough. We have some audio issues and then also some internet connectivity issues, but just bear with us. Hopefully you enjoy. Thanks. All right, we'll get started then. Welcome everyone to the Brunch of Idiots, and happy brunch to Helsinki, Finland. I almost
Happy brunch.
Helsinki.
I almost
Happy
didn't
brunch.
pronounce that correctly. Helsinki, Finland. I am RJ. I'm hosting today. I'm joined by Aiden, Riley, and Jay. Today we are going to be talking about too cool for school, or things that we thought were cool in high school, but were definitely not. I have quite a few questionable fashion choices from high school, but they don't have to be fashion related. They can be really anything, mannerisms, activities, hobbies, whatever. But to start us off, so growing up, how I met Riley and Aiden at least was through a program called 4-H. If you're not familiar with it, it's kind of like scouting, but more agriculture based. But the way that our particular club handled it was more urban. And within this program, I thought myself quite the trendsetter. And for a time, I did a couple of things. The first of which was I would carry a plastic spoon around behind my ear. I would just wear it behind my ear just because. I can't remember for the life of me why I started doing this. But it was all the rage. I mean,
You
everyone
got other
started.
people to do it.
I did. I got other people to do it. We were wearing all sorts of different plastic cutlery behind our ears for some reason. And that was a whole thing. And another one I did was I would wear a blue bike lock kind of like diagonally against my chest, like a sash almost.
I remember this.
Yeah, I wore a decorational bike lock, like one of the little ones that's like a chain and it's got the little 4-digit combination. I just wore it around because I thought it was cool, set me apart, and looking back, it was just plain dumb. But yeah, I don't remember why either of those started or what led up to that, but I did that for probably a good month each, maybe. And I mean, the chain, the bike lock, I would wear to like dances,
Yep.
like high school dances. And I would love to be in any of the other kids' shoes, just looking at that and being like, what is he wearing?
Now, as a dog collar wearer, I thought the bike chain was revolutionary.
Right.
Personally, I thought it was cool, but I was just as, if not more, cringy than you. So,
If I had to guess, I think it was my mindset was probably somewhere along the lines of I really want to wear chains, but my parents won't let me. So I settled for a bike lock. I think that because I struggle to remember a lot from my childhood, but that was one of the things that just I know it happened, but I try to forget it. But I imagine that's probably where my mindset was. Do what?
Roughly? Like what grade was that, if you don't mind me asking?
Let's see.
Do you know?
Well, the spoon was a little bit earlier.
14.
It was probably around 14, 15, because that's when I started going to dances, and I distinctly remember
Okay.
bringing one or both of those to a dance. We'll leave it at a singular dance and pretend like it didn't happen multiple times.
I'm
But yeah,
not
probably
gonna
around
say
14,
anything.
15, so like 9th, 10th, I guess. But what about y'all? Y'all got any things that you thought were cool in high school that didn't
I
age well?
definitely didn't have any. None whatsoever.
Sure.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Sure,
Do you want to
you
share with the
did.
class?
Okay. First off, Riley, who is that guy again?
You know, that one guy.
On Instagram, the hello everybody, that guy. That mother, I need more rations. That guy.
Yes. Sensei Ledoux.
Yeah. Not
I'll
sponsored.
send
Just,
you some
yeah.
stuff. So that
I
you...
was as close to that without being that.
Oh dear.
Hopefully. So trench coats, huge for me, and also fedoras, not trilbies. This is the thing I absolutely hate. Everyone sees a trilby, which is the small brimmed hat that the milady neckbeard dudes wear, and they call it a fedora. It is not a fedora. Fedoras have much wider brims and were for a more civilized and classic time. I say
I
that
just
and then
sent
I
y'all
remember it's the
a-
mafia.
a
In
reel
any
to
case,
watch about this later.
yeah, let's. If y'all want to look at that while I'm describing, but you know, big imagination. I tend to just go off and pretend about things. Did you send it, Riley?
I sent it to them, not you, because you already know
Oh.
what you're talking about.
Well, yeah. But man, did I think, especially that the whole like trench coat flowing in the wind and wearing a wide brimmed fedora was a cool thing to do, and I did that for years.
You know, I never had an issue with your hat choices personally.
That's because,
that's 'cause-
he was thrashed soundly about the head and neck until
It wasn't
repentant.
thrashed; it was curated.
Curated. Oh, that's crazy.
I did wear a top hat with basketball shorts. Not that I thought it was cool. I thought the top hat was cool. I loved the top hat.
I
I wanted to
remember the
become-
top hat. Dude.
I really did not want to be around you.
Some of my fondest memories were going to dances, and just every time Aiden would come, there would just be a different hat from his collection.
Yes.
And
One time
Aiden's
it was one of
collection is
those-
awesome.
It is. It is very impressive. I remember the one time you wore a squid hat,
Yeah.
To a dance.
I did
and you
wear
wore that
squid
thing
hat
like
to
the
dance.
whole night.
My mom was like, Aiden, you're going to get hot. You're going to overheat. I did not. I didn't.
Well, you were very sweaty.
You were very sweaty.
I was very sweaty.
Incredibly
but it was
sweaty.
worth it. It was so worth it. I knew I wasn't cool.
That's the
That was
thing.
one that I knew I wasn't cool, but I was having fun.
Yeah.
But that's what made it cool, though, because people liked coming up and talking to you because you were the kid with the squid hat.
Well, here's the thing, right? Is like confidence goes an incredibly long way. Like,
yes.
it doesn't matter what you're wearing. If you're confident about it, honestly, just about anyone could pull anything off if they really tried.
Top hat and basketball shorts. Y'all should try it sometime.
Emphasis on the almost anything.
It's very freeing.
It's very freeing.
Oh
I'm
boy.
gonna do it now. I'm gonna show up to work in basketball shorts and a top hat, and they're gonna be like, "RJ, what are you doing?" But you know,
Anyone
honestly,
listening to this podcast, by all serious means, don't do that in every situation. in situations where you won't get in trouble for it.
Yes. My job has an incredibly lax dress code. Just throwing that out there. I don't think anyone's actually going to try it, but in the event that you do, disclaimer, we're not responsible for whatever happens from wearing basketball shorts and a top hat.
Absolutely.
Every time.
However, if you do make money while wearing a top hat and basketball shorts, that's going to be sent to me. I will take it via a wire.
Every time y'all say top hat and basketball shorts, it sends flashes of that image into my head. Like the Akira, leave me alone.
We need to find a picture of me wearing a top hat and like just the most casual clothes.
We're gonna have to rename this
edit.
episode, giving Riley PTSD.
That was my big
so
one.
Many times Aiden and I would argue about the appropriateness of his hat and short combo. That was like one of our biggest running arguments as teenagers. That would be like, I am not being seen in public with you in that hat with those shorts. And Aiden would be like, you are such a controlling, like, what does it even matter? I like it. And I'm like, yeah, but I don't want to be seen with you like that.
Both incredibly valid stands.
Except mine was right.
That's not how this works.
We're gonna agree to disagree with that one, my friend.
Jorn.
I know Riley has some interesting fashion choices back in high school.
Back in high school?
Hey now.
Back?
Hey now.
No, I'm joking.
My
like
fashion
Riley's
choices
fashion.
are perfect for a cosmetologist.
Now?
Well, for Riley.
So when I was in high school, I considered myself a little bit of a fashion activist. I liked challenging people's and this is the real cringy part. I liked challenging people's preconceived notion of other people based on how they are dressed. Or like what kind of makeup they wore. So I for the entirety of high school and even beyond, until recently when I've kind of toned it down, I wore as much jewelry as I could possibly put on my body. Period. I wanted to give Mr. T a run for his money. And I said that verbally multiple times to my mom. And my mom was like, heck yeah, girl, speak your truth. So shout out to mom. But I paired that with clothing that would not be considered quote unquote normal for a teenage girl, at least at the time. I didn't really have a very feminine sense of fashion, and I still don't really. I wore this Park Rangers fatigue jacket everywhere.
Oh, I remember that jacket.
All the time. It was my uniform. And if it wasn't that, it was a denim button-up shirt that I left unbuttoned and rolled up the sleeves. Or later on, if it wasn't that, it was a long sleeve kind of Hawaiian print shirt that I did the same thing with. And that fatigue jacket got me misgendered so many times. Like, consistently. To the point where my mom looked at me and was like, I really don't like it when you wear that. Because people can't tell if you're a girl or if you just started transitioning or if something. And I was like, well, okay, but I don't care. at the time, it did hurt a little bit when I was misgendered, but like I didn't care because that was kind of the whole point of me dressing the way that I did. But I also did my makeup in wild colors. I would go to school in like neon Barbie pink lipstick paired with the dog collar and all of my jewelry and homemade like steampunk jewelry specifically. So I had like a choker made out of snake bones that I found at the park during a trash bash, a cleanup day. And then I also made earrings that matched. And I loved that necklace and earrings, but I didn't preserve the bone properly, so it disintegrated on my neck one day. So I had to stop wearing it. And I used to tear the guts out of like dead clocks and make jewelry with them. So it was that paired with like the Barbie pink almost drag level makeup. And apparently I legitimately scared some of the teachers at our school. Like
as you should.
The ladies at the front office would talk to some of the teachers and they'd be like, "Are you sure we're talking about the same Riley? Because Riley is so sweet. She helps us all the time. She just..." Because my point was, I was going to act the nicest possible to people if they came up and talked to me, and also dress the way that I did so that it would, you know, challenge people's perceptions. I'm not very good at the activism thing, guys.
It's not always about the money, Spider-Man. It's about sending a message.
I mean, it sounds like it worked in theory.
In theory, it did, but I really do think that all of these teachers saw this kind of scary-looking teenager and were more like, "Oh my goodness, does she have behavioral issues at home? Her mom lets her go out like this?" And then they met my mom. And then they were like, "Oh, okay, I get it." Because mom's an artist and she does whatever she wants. You know?
Riley has that kind of energy where if she had more confidence when she was younger, she would have, like, as a spiteful retort to someone, said, "Bite me."
Oh, no, I did.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, one time I was in a religion class and I was pointing at somebody because I was disagreeing with them, and she looked up at me and she said, "Pointing is rude." And I was like, "Well, I am rude," and then continued on with what I was saying. That was an interesting dichotomy of teenage angst as a teenager. But more than fashion, right? I used to do things that nowadays I wish I could just block out of my head. So like at dances, because we went to dances with RJ's family a lot. There was this move I would bust out all the time. I called it the Velociraptor.
Oh no. I forgot about that.
I wish I did.
Oh no.
And again, I had a reason for this, and it was I thought that if you lived life, and I still kind of do think this, if you lived life worried about how other people perceive you when you're having fun, then you're not actually going to live life. So be as stupid as possible and have your fun. That was the whole point of the move. I do not think it stuck the way that teenage Riley thought it stuck.
No, I mean, the principle is there. Like, the ideal works. Just maybe not the dance move.
Not the dance.
Yeah, I agree, though. That's a really good life lesson there, though. Because it's true, though. I mean, like, if you're too busy, like, worried about, like, what people are thinking about you, while you're supposed to be having fun. Obviously, you're not having too much fun because your mind is elsewhere. So it's like,
Right.
why bother? But I feel like that's true just on any level. Like, I've kind of gotten to the point in life as an adult where I try my best to let go of other people's perception of me because it really doesn't matter. You know, at the end of the day, and that's not to say, like, go out and, like, you know, be disrespectful of your surroundings or whatever situation you might be in. But it's like, ultimately, at the end of the day, some random person in the grocery store that you're probably never going to see again, what they think of you isn't going to affect your life at all.
Exactly. So dance with the catchy 80s bop in the grocery store.
Correct.
okay.
Pull out the Velociraptor. You know,
I do every once in a while.
wear your snake bone necklace, dog
I
collar.
actually need a snake bone necklace. I think that would be cool.
It was so cool. I loved that thing so much. I wore it all the time.
I have asked Riley that when, and this is a little bit off topic, but whenever one of my snakes passes next, which hopefully, fingers crossed, isn't for like 20 years from now, but I want its skull encased in resin. I'm gonna wear it as a pendant.
That's really cool.
That would be so cool. I forgot about that.
Depending
Yeah.
on the size of the snake,
so
too,
easy to do.
you could also like make some of their vertebrae into like dice.
Oh, that would be cool too.
Oh, like put the vertebrae in resin in the dice.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that would be actually really cool. I have a bone dice set already, but that would
Yeah.
be sick.
But that one would be more personal. But anyway,
Yeah.
what about you, Jay? You got any questionable fashion expressions
There are.
from high school?
2 specific articles of clothing that I can think of, because I don't think my fashion was that bad in like middle school, early high school. However, the first one I don't think is that bad to this day, but I've had a number of people comment on it. It was a short-sleeved, completely polyester like polo that was striped neon orange.
It was like retina burning.
Now, mind you, I loved this shirt, and I still love this shirt, even though I don't have it anymore. It doesn't fit. And I think part of the problem was after a while, I would wear it, and it would be like a size too small. But like it was this retina burning neon orange shirt that I would wear with everything. So like blue jeans, black jeans, those were like the only things I really wore. But like every once in a while, I'd wear it with like khakis. So like,
I think the khaki combo is what really gets you. Personally.
Yeah. What are you wearing, Jake from State Farm?
I don't
Khakis.
really like khakis. The only time I wear khakis is for, like, nice events.
Right.
Yeah.
And the other one, which is a little bit more egregious, at least from my perspective, and I know was definitely worse from others, is I used to own a pair of skinny jeans.
Oh.
But after a while, they got too short.
Oh.
So my mom's like, these jeans are still wearable. They still got life in them. So we turned them into skinny jean shorts,
Not
Oh,
the
no.
skinny
which were cut right above my knee. Which, because at the time, even then at the time, I was like almost 6 foot, if not 6 foot. Like I'm 6'2" now, right? So my thighs are long. So it's this really long, skinny jean pair of shorts that had like frills left on the bottom. I looked like a chicken, bro. It was
so bad.
Yeah.
And I would wear those everywhere. It was like the only pair of shorts I would wear. Like,
I can tell you that length of short is gonna get you kicked out of any of the dances that we went to as teenagers.
oh.
Any and all dances, beware. The short
There's a
shorts are coming.
Well, they weren't short shorts.
No,
They were long.
The long
I
short
have-
shorts.
Aiden, have I sent you the pool table picture?
You have.
Okay, it's that pair of shorts
Yeah.
that we're talking about. That specific picture, which I was about to bring up. I'm not gonna go into too much detail, but it's definitely something because I was at a youth camp with some friends of mine. I think I was like 14 or something at the time, and we were playing pool, and one of my friends got this picture of me, like laying on the pool table trying to hit a ball.
Jorts in full view.
And yeah, it was definitely something. Those jean shorts.
Yeah. See, I never cut mine into shorts, but I definitely was a skinny jeans wearer for a while because I thought myself a edgy scene boy. Um,
You tried so hard too.
I tried so hard and failed so hard. Um, to
That's
the
okay. I wanted to be goth. So,
I failed to the extent that I grew my hair out thinking I had like scene or like Bieber hair. It was just an ugly, greasy teenage
I have a
mop.
picture.
And dude, I look back on a picture from when it was at its peak, and by peak I mean like length, not peak as in quality. And it was bad, and it gives me first, second, and third hand embarrassment looking back on that picture. But yeah, I wore a lot of skinny jeans back then, and I kind of grew out of them because I stopped being able to fit in them comfortably. It was a good change, I think.
I've just thought of an even more egregious pair of jeans I owned.
are they your church jeans?
No, well, I wore them to Easter one year because in my mind, because I'm colorblind and not good at matching things, I thought they matched a yellow plaid shirt that I had. It was like yellow, blue, and white plaid.
Mm-hmm.
And the jeans I was wearing were green skinny jeans.
Oh, that's an
Green?
outfit.
Green is a decision.
Green. I had one pair of green skinny jeans for like 2 or 3 years, and I grew out of them pretty quick. I think, thankfully, for the sake of everybody else. But it was that
Dude,
was another.
I'm so down for colorful jeans, though. Maybe not with the yellow shirt, but
I could probably get away with red jeans at some point. I just gotta find an
Yeah.
outfit for it.
I mean,
That's
we
fair.
have like 3 trillion black T-shirts.
That's fair. Let's pair it with the Stolas one.
Yeah, that would work great.
Yeah, in combination of edgy teenage angst and also color matching, that's kind of why I adopted black as like my go-to color for everything, because it's like black matches with just about everything. Like it just works with almost anything. So it's like you can pair it with a lot.
Yeah.
That's why like my go-to nice jeans currently are just black jeans.
Yeah, same.
have a pair
What
of
about
black
like
jeans.
non-clothing
I
stuff? You don't
I
have any?
absolutely have a non-clothing one.
Go for it.
Dodgeball.
Interesting.
So, no, here's the thing. So, we used to do dodgeball a lot in youth groups that we'd be in and such, and I would always vote for it. I always loved doing dodgeball. Could not throw a dodgeball worth a flying flip. Could not throw any ball worth anything. What I was good at was hiding behind people and dodging. And boy, did I feel cool doing that.
They called it
Did
the
it
human
do
shield.
anything for my team? No.
Well,
Especially since I can't throw either.
I feel like.
There was
Go ahead.
I was just gonna, there were so many times where Aiden was the last man standing on his team, and he could still
I made
dodge. He
people
could
so
dodge like
mad.
mad, but he couldn't catch and he couldn't throw. So it was just
Win the game by
it was
making the
so
other
bad.
team forfeit because they're tired of not being able to do anything.
Well, what I'd do is I'd wait till they all throw their balls, so then I had all of the dodge balls, and they couldn't do anything while I suckily tried to throw. I,
Eventually, somebody would catch, and Aiden would be out. But
that's when I learned one thing. I will say there's one redemption to this because I could lob them like a catapult, and that's where you could catch it. It goes high in the air, whoop, whoop, down. I turned the catapult sideways. So I just had to time letting go when I would just lob it, and that did a lot better.
Yeah.
But I
Sounds like
didn't learn that until like the last 3 months of youth group. So I only did it once and never again.
Fair. I feel like that was kind of how I was with anything athletic, and I'm not an athletic person. I'm not a sports guy, but I feel like my perception of me doing athletic things and the reality of me doing athletic things were very different. Because it's like, you'd be playing like dodgeball or like football or something, and it's like in your mind, you're this like big, buff, sweaty jock who's going in slow motion, and in reality, you're just a sweaty, greasy teenage mess who is not coordinated at all.
I feel like this is part of the male experience, mayhap.
Yes.
Because I always thought that I looked so stupid when I was trying to do anything athletic. Like, period.
Yeah. Well, I feel like females tend to be more self-judgmental, I guess, or not like self-aware, but like self-criticizing.
Yeah. We
More
are
critical
our
of
own
themselves.
worst
That's
critics.
the phrase.
Yeah. I could see that. I could definitely see that.
One thing that I had that I thought was really cool was so at the time, because I didn't grow up having a smartphone, I had like one of the little slider phones for a long time, and I actually had to share one with my siblings for many years. Which, by the way, that's a whole other thing because I still think they're cool. But the little slider phones, you whip it out,
with the keyboard,
and text a little bit, and slide it back shut, and put it in your pocket.
Yeah.
That's cool. But anyway, so I had a digital camera that I would use because I didn't have a good camera on my phone. So I had this little digital camera, and I would take pictures in the mirror, like selfies, using the flash, like in the dark. So it looked like you're like holding like an orb of light, and make like cool like fireball pictures and stuff like that. I thought that was the coolest thing ever. And like now looking back, I'm like, why did I do that? That's dumb.
Wasn't your Instagram kind of full with those for a little bit?
A little bit, yeah. In the very early years.
Yeah.
I think that might have been right after I made my Instagram account, which I wasn't supposed to have at the time, but I did.
I was a big like cool tone filter girly. Not the cool tone filters over your photos.
Oh.
I was really big into having everything kind of cool toned and super like the contrast turned like way up and the exposure turned down, and like I really wanted all of my pictures to look kind of moody. And believe it or not, it was not due to the influence of Twilight.
Oh, 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 oh.
I'm Team Jacob. I'm Team
Hated
Edward.
everything about Twilight. Like,
As
my
you
mom
should.
tried to get me to watch the movies with her, and I could not do it. Bless her heart. She tried really hard to connect with me, and I was just not in it. But yeah, I said to my mom that I wanted everything to look like it came out of the forests of Mirkwood. Because I was that kid, TM.
TM.
mean,
I
this is the
refuse to
nicest
say
way
my
possible.
dragons were cringy, but I was a dragon girl, so.
The dragons were not cringe.
The dragons weren't cringy. It was the dragons in combination with the fashion sense.
Yes! You are so right.
If you were
It's
trying
like
to
pick a
like put
struggle.
on dragon wings and put like fake horns on your head, going, "I'm a dragon."
I think I was like half a step there, honestly.
Just like slip a little bit on some ice and you slide right over that line. Like,
Pretty much. Except mom would never, ever let me. But,
had you on
like,
a leash.
well, it wasn't
mean,
so
she had
much
the
as
collar.
a leash. I did have the collar. Which actually was a bracelet that I got. I purchased it under the pretense that I would wear it as a bracelet and then never wore it as a bracelet. Because it was a wrap bracelet and it fit around my neck. So, but yeah, that was mom didn't have like super strict control over what I wore so much as a here's how you can do what you want to do a little while also not embarrassing me. And I think that's a fair trade, honestly.
Yeah, that's reasonable. How about you, Jay? Got any non-fashion high school cringe?
High school. Dude, I don't know. I don't remember what I did in high school. I've blocked a lot of
Jay
it out of
just
my mind.
Yeah.
binged every
I've been-
cartoon.
Jay's
I-
entire high school.
Yeah. I binged a lot of
Crap
shows
walk.
in high school in my spare time. Like, I watched Steven Universe like 9 times in high school.
We did do the crab walk, but I think we knew that was weird, and that's why.
We knew that was weird. We did that purposefully to weird people out.
Yeah.
I think that's cringy. Weirding people out on purpose.
It
I
can
still
be.
do that. What are you talking about?
Yes, but you do it in a way that's funny now.
Oh, dang.
Damn, it went from cringy to funny.
Dang.
Doesn't
What
make it
changed?
No, I thought that I was never mind.
I thought it was
Yeah,
funny
man.
before. Like, weirding
My
people out was...
character was murdered.
My character.
This is like reliving my childhood in a very strange perspective.
Is that
Like,
bad?
no, not necessarily. Just weird.
Well, for me, I think I would prefer reliving my childhood in a different perspective because facing it in like the same perspective, oh,
Yeah. Yeah.
trying to think of something else. I'm sure there's a lot, but it's similar to Jay. I've also blocked a lot out.
So during high school, Aiden and I were big into our martial arts stuff. And
Yes.
my big thing in martial arts was I had to be better than all of the boys. Period.
Right.
And that might not be like super cringy, but the way I went about it was not very good. By way of I would attempt to show them when we sparred specifically that I could beat the crap out of them, and would any day. And looking back on it with an adult perspective, that's not even remotely okay. Like, that's so not okay. Because, I mean, the guys, for the most part, didn't do anything to me except for pick on me a little bit. And I was just like, these boys, I'm gonna show them I'm gonna be better than any of them ever could. And yeah, it was a behavioral, it ended up being a behavioral problem that I had to soul search about for a while.
Went and trained for 8 years in a Tibetan monastery.
Yeah.
She
That's
did.
what
Must learn to control
Quitting
your anger
martial
rightly.
arts. Dude, there was this one guy who came into the studio. I think I've told this story before, and he came up to me. He fresh white belt, first week there. I was about to be promoted to a blue belt, which in our martial art was like the rung below black belt. And I was supposed to help teach this guy how we spar. And he looked at me and he was like, so I take boxing, or I took boxing before, so I kind of already know how to fight. So if I hurt you accidentally, I'm sorry.
He said, I'll go easy on you.
Yes, he did. He said, I'll go easy on you.
Oh, no.
That
Me
sounds like
being me. I was like, oh, okay. Cool,
I'm
you
gonna
did
put this rotten
boxing.
punk's soul back into
I did. I
80s.
was like, I'm gonna open up this can of whoop ass so hard. This guy's not gonna want to come back to the studio. And I did. I really pulled all the stops. And when we finished, you know, we spar in like 2-minute rounds. He looked over at this other kid who had just started at the studio, and this poor kid was twitchy and nervous and just looked deeply uncomfortable. And he was like, don't mess with her, she's mean. And then he switched partners because we were, you know, the younger belts were kind of moving down the ranks.
Right.
And I looked at this poor guy and I was like, look, my dude, I had to teach him a lesson. I want to teach you how to do this. So I'm not going to be mean to you. And I wasn't. And we ended up being good friends after that. But the other guy was kind of a jerk the whole time.
Well, sounds like he kind of brought that upon himself.
He asked for it.
He did. He instigated.
He did. And he wouldn't stop instigating too. He picked on all the girls in the studio. I think he finally left eventually.
He what?
He finally left eventually. Like, he stopped coming. But it took a long time.
Go back to your kickboxing or whatever it is you do,
Whatever
Mr.
you were doing.
Big
He
Shot.
did eventually go back to boxing.
Well, that's
Yeah,
good.
I think that's
Good
what
for
it
him.
was. I think it was probably better suited for his personality.
Probably.
More brash.
One thing that I had remembered, I don't think it was necessarily uncool, just something quirky that I thought was cool. So a little bit later into high school, probably around junior year or so, I started working with paracord a lot, which if you don't know, it's kind of like a rope. It's often used in like survival or crafting purposes. But I started doing that a lot. So I would make things like monkey fists, which is basically like a weighted ball, like a marble that's like wrapped in paracord in a specific way. Or like I would also make essentially small chainmail pieces out of a soda can tabs, like the little tabs on the top. I would weave those together using paracord into like a little chainmail, and I actually still have somewhere like a gauntlet that I made out of this, and I would wear that all the time everywhere, and people would always talk about it and be like, "Oh, that's so cool." Um, and I still think it's cool. I would probably wear it more these days if I didn't need to use my hands so much for like work and driving and stuff, because it's got a buckle that sits like right across like the top of your palm, like right where your knuckles are. So it kind of inhibits everyday life, but I think it was pretty cool. I still have them somewhere in a box, but that was something quirky that I did back in high school. So, we only got a little bit more time left. Anyone else got anything?
I liked your little monkey fist things. Those were cool.
I really liked them. I carried it around everywhere. I had one that I never used it on anyone, but it was basically a little whip because because you could use it as like a little like self-defense thing, and I think some people actually sold them for a while specifically as like self-defense like keychains. You would keep it on your keys and you could use it to whack people with, because a lot of them had enough weight behind it to where it would sting, it would hurt. If you got like bone, um it would hurt a lot. But yeah, I used to carry those around on my belt sometimes whenever I would go out, just because I thought it was cool. Which I think that was pretty cringy. But I mean, making the stuffs themselves was pretty fun. I used to make a lot of like bracelets too, because I think that was a really popular paracord thing back in like the 2010s.
Somebody did that while I was in middle school. I actually still have it. It's a purple and blue one.
Yeah, well, and that was the thing too, is because it not only was pretty trendy, but also like there were a lot of different colors you could get for paracord. So a lot of people would use them for crafting and make bracelets. And there were a couple of different like weaves that you could do, that would have different looks and styles, and you could do multiple colors, and different patterns and stuff like that. So it was pretty popular back in the day. I don't really see them too much anymore, but
I actually thought about bringing that up as like my cringy thing, but you said specified high school, and that was while I was in middle school. So I was like, damn, that's
yeah. Well, I mean, I guess it didn't really have to be high school. It was just kind of the prompt that I came up with. But yeah, sometimes I forget how much younger than you are than me.
Yeah, while y'all were in high school, I was in middle school. So, I mean, I feel like I could get away with answering as if I were in middle school.
I mean, if you
Yeah,
hadn't
you
said
know
anything,
what I
you
mean.
absolutely could have, because I forget.
Sometimes it's like you're the little sibling that Aiden and I just bring around everywhere.
I-
Like,
That's more or
Grandpa
less what I
Jay
turned.
is the little
That's-
sibling.
Basically, I was willed to your family.
Yeah.
oh,
Have we
I
told
thought-
on the
oh,
on here how I met the two of y'all?
no. I think we might have.
Oh.
I do have one last mega cringe thing that
Okay.
Aiden and I specifically did in high school.
Oh boy.
We tried so hard to have a YouTube channel. So hard, right? And it was called Random Trash. And can y'all hear Aiden?
No.
Aiden, I think you muted
I
yourself.
forgot I was muted. We tried with an old friend of ours.
We tried so hard. We had our own personas, like fake names and everything, that were like a big part of this whole thing. It was like this elaborate storyline that was like we had a TARDIS trash can that kidnapped all of us, and now we just go around and do random trash, was the whole spiel, right? And we tried really hard to do let's plays, but our friend didn't want us to upload anything that wasn't a win.
Wasn't a
Uh,
win?
Yes. So we ended up not ever uploading anything because as much as we enjoy video games, we're not particularly awesome at them, especially at the time. So
Still,
we
kind
almost
of.
never had any wins. And so we had no videos. But we would go around and tell people we're trying to do this YouTube channel. But we had no videos. It was so bad. And then our
That's-
friend changed the password of, like, he kept changing the password of the YouTube channel. So we couldn't get in even when I started doing stuff separately because I was doing like puzzle game let's plays. And it ended up just not even working out. So shout out to Dead Channel Random Trash.
Make sure y'all go and
I
subscribe.
remember this.
I still have the Mr. McKetbang channel.
That's true.
I remember I tried to join y'all for Random Trash at the time.
Yes.
You did.
And at the time, because I was like, what, 12?
Like 13, maybe.
Like
Yeah.
11 or 12, maybe 13. My parents didn't want my face on the internet or my actual name. And so, like, the first live recording session we did, because we had, like,
So bad.
so I was wearing, like, a fedora and sunglasses, but the kind that go over glasses, and, like, a scarf my mom had made, and, like, a like, knitted sweater I got from, like, JCPenney on. It was, like... if we can find... oh, wait, I guess we don't have the...
How could I have any of the old
I could
footage?
recreate it. I still have, like, almost all of the stuff I wore in that video.
I can't
I could
put my
recreate
arms
it,
down.
and we can put a picture. We could put a picture somewhere, maybe. I would say
Yeah.
on screen that this is a podcast, not a video.
Well, I do record video, so
Yeah, so do
if we
I.
wanted to put something on, we could.
Put it
Editor,
right
throw in a picture
here.
of Jay.
If we have, I'll try to recreate it sometime.
Put more signs out.
Before this goes up.
More. Make it really point at it.
Make it right. No, I'm just kidding. All right. That's
Yeah.
that's
It was
incredibly
so
unfortunate,
bad.
though.
It was so bad. Yeah.
Well, I mean, yeah, I feel like we've all kind of had similar experiences with content startups. I have a YouTube channel that I still have not recorded anything for, have currently made no progress with, but eventually I'll get on that. But we'll plug that in a future date.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, before we close out, Aiden, do you have our highlights?
I'm
My
gonna
gosh.
tell you the
I
truth.
found
I
the video.
completely forgot to record.
Okay, so no highlights.
No
We'll add those in
highlights.
post, I guess.
I'm so sorry.
Aiden
It's
will
okay.
listen to them and then we'll
It's
record
not.
the-
It's been a very square day today.
It's okay. Anyway, those were some great highlights that definitely weren't added in after. But thank everyone for tuning in. This has been a Brunch of Podcasts. I am RJ. Y'all have
Brunch
a
of
fantastic
idiots.
brunch. Bye.
It's a podcast.
Go Brunch.
A what?
Never mind.
What?
What?
Never mind. You said a brunch of podcasts instead of a brunch
I
of
mean,
idiots.
you're not wrong. That's fine.
It's fine. Goodbye.